We are broken down. We're at a hotel in Medford, Oregon, on our way from California up to Washington for the 4th, and the van cut out on us last night. Completely just died and coasted into a rest area, and we were able to get it towed here last night. Unfortunately, I didn't bring very many tools with me, but I luckily grabbed this scan tool at the last minute. This is the Innova 5610. Really glad that I did grab this because I was able to read the codes and at least figure out what's going on, and should be able to get this back on the road in just a little bit. Hey, what's up YouTube? Dan the Fix-It Man. Got another quick video here for you. Now this is our 2016 Ford Transit with the 3.5 liter EcoBoost, and we are on a little bit of a road trip here for our family vacation, heading from California up to Washington State, and we're stuck here in Medford, Oregon. Fortunately, we were only about 15 miles from the hotel, and we were able to get picked up last night and get dropped off here in the parking lot, and looks like it's going to be a fuel pump issue. Now luckily I ended up bringing the Innova 5610 scan tool, and I was able to plug in and figure out what was going on. We were coming in last night to our hotel over here, and the van just completely shut down, completely shut off on the freeway. We were able to make it to a rest area, and I'll put the codes up on the screen here that I got. Low fuel pressure to the fuel rail. Reset the codes, and I was able to restart the van just for a moment, and then it died again. And so we ended up getting towed to the hotel last night. I didn't really bring a lot of tools with me, but I did have the scan tool, so fortunately I was able to figure out that it is a fuel delivery or a fuel pressure issue. Now this van has a low pressure fuel pump and a high pressure fuel pump. Now I'll tell you why I think it's the low pressure fuel pump and what I did to kind of diagnose this. Not maybe the most technical way, but I of course looked at the fuses and relays, and everything looked fine under the hood. Now I also took a look at the fuel pump control module, which is mounted right up underneath here. Let's go take a look at that real quick. Now a lot of the forums were saying that the fuel pump control module, which is this guy right over here, goes bad, and a lot of people said that this is your culprit right here. It's just one plug and a couple bolts that holds it on. So I thought, okay, that's an easy fix. I'll grab one of those and should be good to go. Sounds like it's a pretty common issue on this van. So this morning I came out, I didn't sleep much, just did a little bit of reading up on this, and I thought maybe it was going to be our fuel pump control module. But what I did is I just had a little mini sledge, and I tapped on the bottom of the fuel tank, and I was able to revive it and get it started again. And it lasted about 5 minutes and died again. Then I rapped on the bottom of the fuel tank again and was able to jar something loose in the fuel pump and get it to start or get it to run. Unfortunately, that's not, I don't feel safe to take my whole family on the road with the risk of that going out again. So what I did is I decided to drop the fuel tank. Now that's not a real technical way to diagnose this, but I did get it running again and was able to get it going, and then I would just drive around the parking lot here, and then it would die again. So in order to drop this down, there's just 3 of these straps. I also use this suitcase and a couple of these 12 packs of Diet Coke to kind of bring this down slowly. Now you can see right here this little strap or bracket, and I've got the other one back there, and then that one right there on this side. It just seemed a little bit easier just to take off one on each side and then just twist those around, because I think it'll be a little bit easier to line those up when we put this back up. Now I did pop these little plastic pieces right out of the frame up here. This one broke off, but just to give me a little bit more room to be able to drop this down. But everything else was fine, and you're really not pulling anything too hard. Just these 2 lines right here, I took these loose, a little foam piece, and they're stuck, and they drop right down in the tank. Didn't even have to take off the inlet tube or the fill tube here. Well, it looks like I could have if I needed to, but we are about a half tank full, so I didn't want any of the fuel to leak out because that's pretty low on the tank. Now up here on the top, I've got a paper plate on here covering this just to prevent anything from falling down in there. But there's just one electrical connection on the main top of the fuel pump. You just have to slide this little red tab this direction, and then it just pushes down and slides off. Now there's another electrical connector right here. I don't necessarily know that you had to take this one off, but it just plugs into this line or the side of this line right here. And then this one, so these sides push in and then up. And then this one right here has this little blue thing. You have to pull that out and then push in on this to slide that off. And then this one is your pressure line. Just pull out these 2 little blue plastic tabs on either side and then slide this clip up, and then you can slide this off, but it is under pressure, so it did spray quite a bit. All right, once you get the lines disconnected, here on the top, there's 3 nuts that hold this little cap on, which is kind of just a little plastic protective cap. Now the lock ring, you just use a screwdriver and a hammer and just tap that. These wires just came off on the way out. They weren't disconnected when I first opened this up. But I kind of had to wrestle this, and the reason is this base, the diameter on this is almost too large. It really doesn't want to come out. I mean, it did not want to come out at all. I really fought with it, tried it every different direction. I ended up just forcing it, and it just finally slid through the opening, but I've never dealt with a fuel pump that was that tight. We're just waiting for a new one from Ford. They do make an aftermarket one, and we might have to go that route if we can't get the one from Ford in time. But we're gonna try to get the OEM version and then drop this back in, reconnect everything, and we should be able to get back on the road. Not a real fun parking lot repair, but don't really have much of a choice here. We definitely have to get back on the road and resume our journey. This would have been a lot easier if the tank wasn't half full as well, but I did have some help from one of my kids. All right, we got the tank back up, just tightening up the straps here. Sorry I didn't film the whole process. It was just a little bit of a rush job here. Picked up some of this silicone grease from Ford along with an O-ring. Just put a little bit of grease on all of the tubes on that top of that fuel pump, just to make sure that those lines went on and didn't kink or anything. We also energized the pump, turning the key to the run position before putting this back up to make sure that we did pressurize it and didn't have any leaks. All right, it's all buttoned back up. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Hey, it works. We are running. All right, we're gonna let that run for a minute here. All right, we've been running for a few minutes here and no visible leaks or anything. All right, we're just gonna drive around the parking lot here a little bit, make sure that we don't have any issues. No check engine lights, come on. I'm not trying to jinx us, but I really just wanna find out before we head north. Sounds good, feels good. I'm gonna stop here for a minute, let it idle, and then I think we're gonna go for it. Not gonna fill up just yet in case we do have any other issues or anything pending, but let's just let it idle here for a few and go from there. All right, we've got a fuel rail pressure too low permanent code, so that's stuck on there from before, and then we also have a P0627, that same fuel pump control circuit open, but this is also a permanent code, so it's not letting us erase that from before, I believe. So that circuit open was from that failing pump, I think, even though we were able to get it back up and running. Don't have any active check engine lights or anything like that, so we're just gonna have to drive a little bit for these permanent codes to clear. Let's go ahead and head out on the road and put some miles on it and see how it does. Then we'll check back in here. Hopefully that's all it was. All right, well, we're at our first fuel stop here. Just want to double check. Everything looks good. We got about 30 miles on the road so far. No issues, everything's running good. All right, we just put in about 40 bucks, just under 10 gallons. Don't want to fill this up just yet, but so far, so good. All right, let's hit one more quick scan. All right, those permanent codes are gone now. No powertrain DTCs or freeze frame data presently stored. We still have a couple monitors to complete, but I'd say we are good. The fact that those permanent codes went away is a great sign, and no check engine lights, so I think we're gonna call this one fixed. We can get on with our vacation and go see our family up in Washington. We'll just enjoy Oregon a little bit more here and then call this one done. So I'm gonna get back on the road here and I'm gonna let you guys enjoy a little bit of the scenery here. Just wanted to give a shout out to everybody in Medford that was very helpful to us, and shout out to our tow truck driver, John, with Dick's Towing that got us there safely. Also, our Uber driver, Dennis, was extremely helpful, not only getting us safely to the hotel. Dennis was also so helpful when above and beyond. He ended up calling a bunch of friends of his that are mechanics, called around to try to help us find a fuel pump as well, and ended up driving us over to get the fuel pump and wouldn't even charge us. So just wanted to give him a huge shout out and thank you as well. But I hope you guys liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't mind. That does help me out. And of course, I'll get a link in the description where you can pick up your very own Innova 5610 scan tool, along with some of the other parts and tools used in the video as well. And I'll leave you here with a little bit of footage of the rest of our trip, so you can see we did end up getting there safely and the van ran great. Thanks so much for watching and good luck.